Hi, thanks for watching. Today I'll be creating a layout using 8 pictures, and it will be a 2-page layout. It's my daughter's college graduation, and I'm finally getting it on a scrapbook page. I will be using the large a la carte Keepsake template, and I am trying to stick to the red, white, and black because the red and black is the school colors, and I figured white would work well. And I do end up throwing in some gold into this layout as an accent color. As you saw, I traced out my pattern, and as usual I use my purple pencil, which is a retractable Papermate pencil, and it's purple, and it works perfectly on layouts like this where a pencil would probably not be as noticeable when you're cutting it out. So this paper was a little bit outside my comfort range. I'm not used to using such bold colors, or like the red background, or even a pattern such as this. So I will be using this cutout, and I will be using it on both sides of my paper. I will cut it down the middle using my paper cutter because I wanted to make sure that I got a nice straight line and that I didn't mess it up in any way. And I will adhere both sides to my paper after I ink it, which for this project I will be using the Tim Holtz Distress ink in my favorite color. Yes, you guessed it, hickory smoke. But first I'm going to do a little cleanup, and I do end up cleaning up a little of the edges because I noticed that it wasn't a nice clean cut. So if you're wondering why I ink everything, I always feel like the inking the edges gives it a little dimension. It makes it pop a little bit off the page so it doesn't look like it's just a piece of paper stuck on another piece of paper. And I also feel that if you don't have a clean cut, it kind of hides it a little bit, and it also hides your pencil marks unless you're like me and you erase. So moving right along, I'm going to pull out my pictures and try to figure out where I want to place everything. I don't end up using the MSU with the eagle, and the picture of my daughter facing away was taken during a photo shoot that she and I had at her school, where we went around campus and we just took pictures all over, because her graduation was not on campus. It was at the Prudential Center, which is a huge arena here in Jersey. And usually that's where all the college graduations are. So this picture that I'm cutting right now, you'll notice that there's a circle kind of like in the middle of the page or the picture. I had to use my editing software on my phone to draw a circle because you couldn't really decipher where she was. We were zoomed in probably a million times. This is one of the a la carte frames called Snapshot, and that came in one of the kits. So I'm going to use this white and black paper to cut out the frame. And I just want to mention that both sheets of paper are from the Amy Tangerine Shine On collection, and that's by American Crafts. And this specific template I really love because it reminds me of a Polaroid snapshot, and I think the arrows kind of like work really cute, how it's pointing up at the picture on top. I end up using this college, her picture of her actual graduation, of her being on the floor, and I'm going to cut my picture so it's behind it. So you've seen this little baby in a lot of my layouts. She is one of our relatives, and I love scrapbooking about her because she is probably the only one that has been born when I was full on 100% into scrapbooking. So she's getting a whole photo book about her life when she grows up. This red and white, I guess is like a gingham, is by Photoplay, and it's called Boarding Pass. And I am just going to use that as a mat where I'm putting both pictures, and I'm just cutting about 1/8 of an inch mat around it. And then I decided to use this gold foiled paper, which is also by, I believe, Amy Tangerine. I'm not 100% sure. And that paper is one of those specialty papers. It's like a vellum with the gold on it. And it has bunnies on it. So I kind of didn't want to show too much of it because I really didn't want bunnies on my page. And yes, it's by Amy Tangerine. And it is, I don't have a name for it, but I believe it's from the same collection, which is the Shine On collection. So I end up backing the picture of our little cousin, and the one on the right with this gold paper. And now I'm just kind of trying to decide if this is where I want everything to go. And I pull out this, I think this is Cascade Trails, but I don't end up using it. What I end up doing is using the a la carte Keepsake again and just tracing a small portion of the actual template, as you can see right here. And I'm going to end up cutting it twice because I end up doing it on both sides. So as you can see there on my desk, I did end up getting the new Tim Holtz scissors. Well, they're not new, but they're new to me, in the really small size and in the next size up. So this is what my plan is. I plan on using what I cut out on the left side of my page. Now I'm going to glue it down. So now I'm just fiddling with it and trying to figure out where it's going to go. And I am just trimming off about 1/8 of an inch off of it because I felt like it was too wide. So I'm starting to place my pictures back on it, and I feel like that makes. So I'm going to go ahead and start adhering my pictures down to my layout because I'm happy with the placement. And next we're going to start embellishing it. And I will be using a couple different templates here for this. And right now I am going through my box of templates. So tell me about your organization. How do you organize your templates? I'm curious to know. I personally use the Totally Tiffany sleeves, as you can see right there. But I'm thinking I might have to change it up a little bit because I'm struggling a little bit keeping them together as together as a collection. I think I need to break them up into categories. And I'm talking more about the tiny accessories and the accessories, not as much as the borders. So I will be using the arrow, which is from Tiny Explore, and I believe it's 4T. The camera, which is from Tiny Highlights, and the flash that's behind it. And I wanted to use the back side of this, but I wanted to make sure I didn't cut specific cards that were on that paper. And that's also from the Amy Tangerine collection. Nope, sorry, that's from the Photoplay collection called Boarding Pass. So I wanted to put an arrow kind of pointing to where she is. I think it makes it look a little more playful and not so, I don't know, adultish. And I don't end up using the other 2 arrows that I have on the page. As far as titles are concerned, I don't end up using anything too large for this because I have so much words are going on, you know, her, I have two pictures of the billboard, one of them when she's actually walking across the stage, and then the one that you see there on the right, which was like in the middle of the stadium. I believe they play basketball and hockey in the stadium, so it's kind of like in the middle and it has all the different screens. So I'm cutting out the camera from the tiny highlights. I believe that's 2T. And I'm going to ink my edges as usual with the hickory smoke. And I will be using the flash, and I decided to use a gold paper, which at this moment I still haven't figured out what I'm using. I wanted to use a vellum, and then I changed my mind. And so here I'm going through my scraps, and I'm looking through the gold scraps of paper that I have. So I am cutting out the little little viewfinder thingy for the camera with the gold. Oh, you can see my reflection in that paper. Scary. Should have done my hair that day. So I will be using art glitter glue, which if you look on the left, there is a white bottle there, which is a fine liner bottle that I fill with art glitter glue. My favorite, absolute favorite adhesive when it comes down to the wet adhesive. It dries crystal clear and a little bit goes along. So I'm getting ready to adhere my, actually no, I'm just going to place my camera down for a second and I'll start working on my next embellishment. And I believe I'll be using this striped gold and white, it's gold foil with white paper. I think it's a Teresa Collins. It's a very old piece of paper. Actually, no, I am going to cut an apple out of this red and creamish paper. I end up not using it. I figured the apple was more of a for younger kids, maybe elementary school, high school. And besides, it had the cream dots, and everything else was white, so I nixed that one real quick. So I'm looking through my templates for the notations banner, and I believe that's the 8T, the 3T, and I struggled a little bit because I wanted to make it three-dimensional, and I couldn't figure out how to cut it out, so I end up folding it, which if it wouldn't have been foiled, I think it would have looked a little better. The foil ended up cracking a little bit, but it worked. It's on my page. So yeah, the struggle was real, and I am not going to cut it out so that you can see that it ends up getting done. What I did was, and I don't know if you can see that, I end up tracing the main portion of the tag or banner, and I'm going to cut it out and then fold it under and then cut out the little, I don't know what you call them, the little edges of the banner. So as I struggle with the banner, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to watch my videos. For those of you that haven't subscribed, please do so. I will be having a giveaway at 500 subscribers, which is almost here. We're already in the 400s. So it is a $50 gift card to my Kiwi Lane shop. And it is not sponsored by Kiwi Lane. This is totally a thank you to my subscribers from me. And I am thrilled to see what whoever wins. And so don't forget to subscribe and hit the little bell so that you get notifications whenever I have new content up. So as you can see, I'm starting to place down my embellishments, and I pull out my Tim Holtz, it's called Small Talk, and I'm looking for something to put on the banner, and I decided to go with a black, white on black sticker, and the one I end up choosing says hold on tight to your dreams. And I thought this was a great sentiment for this scrapbook page, and it fits perfectly on the back. So now the camera, I'm trying to figure out what I want to use behind it, and I end up grabbing a piece of vellum and cutting out a little square to put behind it. And then I have to cut a bigger square because I didn't cut one big enough. And I'm just going to adhere the vellum to the back of it and use a little heart, which is from Maggie Holmes. Not sure which collection, and I don't have it near me, but it's one of her latest collections. So basically, my left page is done. We're going to start working on the right page. If you stick to the end, I will have close-ups of both pages and both of them together. And you can see me right now trying to line up this one side of the frame so that it lines up with the other page. So now I'm just going to throw on my next set of pictures, and I do struggle a little with it because I'm not usually don't normally do pages with a lot of pictures on it. And I wanted to get that small picture on the right where it shows her walking across and her name is on the bottom of the screen. The stage was way too far away for us to see. I believe there were over 4,000 graduates, and this was just the bachelor's degrees. There were no masters or PhDs. They have their own ceremony. I think it was the day before. So I'm going to use the black and white paper again to map my photos, but this time I'll turn the pattern to the side so that the arrows are facing sideways. And the bottom picture I end up doing so that the arrows go the opposite way. So I'm going to use this gold and white Teresa Collins scrap of paper to map that small picture because I wanted to kind of make it a little bit more noticeable because it's a small picture. So I end up popping it up, and because there was some random person's head in the doorway, I decided that was the perfect spot for my picture. So now I decided, I figured I need something in under the picture. So I'm looking at tags, and I end up using from the tags the number 1, which is the I guess the banner edge. I'm not sure what the right word is, but I will end up using that red and white gingham paper. So I'm cutting it out, and I will be inking the edges and erasing my pencil marks. And I will just be using that to place my title, which will be MSU. And as you can see in that top right picture, she has it captioned from 5th grade to college grads. They were pretty close friends in 5th grade, or up until 5th grade, and then we moved to Florida. And they ended up being in college together. So it was really cool that as we were leaving, we were able to take this quick picture. So I am using the alphabet stickers. They're foam stickers, and they're by Sticko. I believe I bought those at Walmart. And they're probably one of my favorite. Other than thickers, I do really like this specific font. So you will see me use those a lot. So I'm going to bring my 2 pages together, and I really like how they both turned out side by side. They're not as busy, or they don't have a lot of things going on. I thought the paper was busy enough, so I felt that was okay to not overdo it with the embellishing. So I do end up using this, the Whimsical, I think it's called. And it's a Maggie Holmes collection. And I will be using the hearts, and I'll be also using one of those little banner, which I end up putting over the Prudential Center picture that says Magical Day. And here are a couple more of those hearts. And then I will be adding my ink splatters and some sequins to it. I have a huge sequins collection, and I don't even want to explain it because it's a little embarrassing. So here is my Heidi Swapp Color Shine in the gold. Oh, but before that, I realized that I forgot to put my little flash of gold behind my camera. So I end up cutting it in half so that so it's not too big, and I'm just trying to figure out how to place it so it doesn't look like I cut it. And so I do end up having to cut out a chunk of it so that you can't see it behind the vellum. And I am ready to adhere it. So I'm getting ready to use my Color Shine, and here's a little tip. If you go very close to your paper, your splatters will be a little bit more contained than if you were to bring your hand up higher up away from the paper. If you bring it up higher, then you're going to get a bigger, what's the right word? Like the splatters will go further out. So if you want to stay contained, just splatter right exactly where you want it to go. I hope that makes sense. So I'm just splattering around the hearts, around my MSU, and a little bit on top there. And what I like about my pictures, I use the Canon Selfie to print my pictures, is that I can wipe off the gold splatters with my finger. And so as you can see, I found my sequins, and I am using red, gold, and black. The black, I had to pick out the blacks out of a little combo pack that I bought a while back, because I didn't have just black in my collection of sequins. So there I'm just kind of playing with them. I will be using my art glitter glue again to glue them down to my paper. And I will also do a little cluster over under the little picture or next to the MSU, and also down below by the heart right there, which you see me placing them now. And I'm just doing 3 little clusters of 3. So one of each color. And since we're getting really close to the end of this video, I just wanted to thank you again for watching. If you've stuck around and watched the whole video, I really appreciate it. Make sure you check out the end page, which will have links to other videos, and I will also have some still photos of the layouts, or rather close-ups of the layouts. And I really appreciate your support. And I love reading your comments, so keep them coming. I really enjoy reading them. I also love to hear any suggestions that you may have. I've gotten some great ones so far. If you have a technique suggestion, or if you want to see something specific, let me know. I'm here.